Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Bhakti Shastri class on Śrī Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu. We will start with Mangalacharan prayers. Thank you very much for joining. I will share my screen. ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले सोऽयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः। ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रील रूप गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Okay, now we can go to the slideshow and one sec. Um, One second. Okay. Okay. So this is Śrī Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, which is Nectar of Devotion, English summary study provided by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So maybe we can recite the Shad Goswami Ashtakam. You can on Zoom, you can do it in mute, and we can do it together in the room. So I'm in the temple gift shop. If any of you is online and in the temple, you can join here. But if you are doing services in the temple, then continue to do that, please. Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartana Paro Premamritambo Nidhi Dhira Dhira Jana Priyau Priyakaro Nirmatsarau Pujito Shri Chaitanya Kripa Bharau Bhuvi Bhuvo भारावहन्तारको वन्दे रूपसनातनौ रघुजुगौ श्रीजीवगोपालकौ नानाशास्त्रविचारणैकनिपुनो सद्धर्मसंस्थापकौ लोकानां हितकारिणौ त्रिभुवने मान्यौ शरण्याकरो राधाकृष्णपदारविन्दभजन नन्देन मत्तालिको वन्दे रूपसनातनौ रघुजुगौ श्रीजीवगोपालकौ. Okay, now we will recite the memorization verses. Lead, follow. If you would like, you can unmute and recite it in lead and follow. Anyabhilashita shunyam
अन्याभिलाषिता शून्यम्
karmadhyanavritam
ज्ञानकर्माद्य अनावृतम्
anukulyena krishnanu
आनुकूल्येन कृष्णानु
शीलनम bhaktiruttama
शीलनं भक्तिरुत्तमा
सर्वोपाधि विनिर्मुक्तम
सर्वोपाधि विनिर्मुक्तम्
परत्वेन निर्मलम
तत्परत्वेन निर्मलम्
ऋषिकेन ऋषिकेश
ऋषिकेन ऋषिकेश
सेवनं भक्तिरुच्यते
सेवनं भक्तिरुच्यते
अतः श्रीकृष्ण नामादि
अतः श्रीकृष्णनामादि
न भवेद् ग्राह्यमिन्द्रियै
न भवेद् ग्राह्यमिन्द्रिये
एवोन्मुखे हि जिह्वादो
सेवोन्मुखे हि जिह्वादो
स्वयमेव स्फुरत्यदः
स्वयमेव स्फुरत्य अधः
अनासक्तस्य विषयान्
अनासक्तस्य विषयान्
यथार्हमुपयुञ्जतः
यथार्हम् उपयुञ्जतः
निर्बन्धः कृष्णसम्बन्धे
निर्बन्धः कृष्णसम्बन्धे
युक्तं वैराग्यमुच्यते.
युक्तं वैराग्यमुच्यते.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so now we will start our today's discussion. So we are in the chapter of Bhava Bhakti and almost at the end of Bhava Bhakti. So we discussed the meaning of Bhava Bhakti, the various ways in which Bhava Bhakti appears, and then most importantly, we discussed the 9 symptoms of a Bhava Bhakta. Then after that, we started discussing a new topic called bhava-ābhāsa, which is a very important topic. So let me go over bhava-ābhāsa and we'll go into details of bhava-ābhāsa today. Okay. So bhava-ābhāsa means that when one exhibits some symptoms, external symptoms of bhava. And the most common such external symptom is tears in the eyes. The next most common symptom is faltering or choking voice when you cannot speak or you kind of choke while speaking. The third most common symptom is the hair standing on end. So these are, and then there are more symptoms as well, like trembling of the body, etc. But these are some of the external symptoms. And this is one of the reasons why Śrī Rupa Goswami discussed the 9 most important symptoms, and they are internal symptoms. These external symptoms, first of all, can be imitated or faked. but at some times they appear naturally, but that does not mean that when they appear in a person, that person is a bhava-bhakta or has attained the stage of bhava-bhakti. So today last time when we discussed this very important point that the desire for something and true love for something have to be identical. That may sound like a very obvious statement, but when we use this example that I love Krishna, but I desire moksha, many people fall in this category. If you ask them, do you love Krishna? Yes. Why do you love Krishna? So that I can get moksha. Moksha from what? From this material existence. What does material existence mean? Suffering. So basically, I want to get relief, permanent relief from suffering, which I call moksha, which is true. In the spiritual world, there is no suffering, material or spiritual or of any kind. And that is what people want. They want to escape. It is an escape route from material suffering. And Krishna is just a means, is just a stepping stone or a tool to get to that place of no suffering. So such bhakti is not Uttama Bhakti. Uttama Bhakti, we just recited the verse, is Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadya Anavritam. So which is not covered by jnana or karma and no other abhilasha. Well, getting rid of or desiring to escape from suffering is a anya abhilasha. The only abhilasha should be to anukulyena Krishna anushilanam. That should be the only desire or abhilasha. Anya abhilasha, anything other than this, is not considered Uttama Bhakti, and without Uttama Bhakti, you cannot get into Bhava Bhakti stage. So the successful all throughout the performance of sadhana bhakti, even the sadhana bhakti performance has to be uttama level. One can still practice, but there should not be this inherent motive that I am doing it for some material happiness or relief from material suffering, or even for any kind of liberation. If that is the conscious intent, subconsciously it may come and go. The moment you detect that intent, you should pray to Krishna or take some steps to remove that intent. So conscious intent should never be for material happiness or relief from material suffering or any kind of liberation. Then even at the sadhana bhakti stage, such bhakti is called Uttama Bhakti. Though it may not have been perfected, Uttama Bhakti does not mean Shuddha Sattva, which means all material anarthas have been removed from your heart. So sometimes you may be angry out of some, weakness of heart or something else may be there, which is out of your control at the present. Still, if it is consciously not being done by you, then it is still called, even at the sadhana stage, it is called Uttama Bhakti. And the more Uttama Bhakti you do at the sadhana stage, the more quickly it will elevate to Bhava Bhakti. But mostly, Uttama Bhakti comes at the very end of sadhana Bhakti stage, at which point very quickly one gets into the Bhava Bhakti stage. But there is Uttama Bhakti even at the sadhana Bhakti stage. Okay. So, then we discussed that this real bhava bhakti is very, very rare. And the reason is because Krishna really wants to make sure. So bhava bhakti is the sadhya stage. Sadhan stage means the practice. Sadhya means perfected. So bhava bhakti is almost the perfected stage or the desired state. And Krishna wants to make sure that there is no other intent other than love for Krishna that is present in one's heart. So Krishna awards this bhava bhakti very, very rarely. So we discussed that last time. And again, it has to be of the Uttama category. Now we get into something called, we get into the details of what if sometimes these external symptoms may be present even when one is at the sadhana bhakti stage, or even at the beginning of sadhana bhakti stage, let alone at the end or middle. The internal, and this, by the way, we had also discussed, is not to judge others. Hey, you are in the bhava-ābhāsa stage, not bhava stage and all. It is for our own understanding, our own judgment. But sometimes we ourselves may experience such external symptoms. Maybe you read a particular verse which touched you. Maybe you were going through some specific suffering in your life, and you came across a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam which was directly applicable to your situation, and you became very bhavuk, you became very emotional, and tears came from your eyes. Or maybe you met a great devotee whose classes you were listening to from a long time on YouTube or wherever, and you happened to meet him. Or you happen to go to Vrindavan, which you have heard for, or Radhakund, which you have heard so much about. And the moment you get there, you feel a lot of emotion. Such presence of external symptoms is called bhava-ābhāsa or rati-abhasa. Rati-abhasa. Rati and bhava are synonyms in this context. But it does not mean the presence of bhava bhakti in one's heart. And what is said is that the wise people, the sadhus, the sannyasis, the very advanced devotees, on seeing such symptoms in others, they don't become disturbed, or they don't think that this person, they and this has happened. So I have seen, some people become very emotional and ask, what is this emotion? I experienced this emotion, what should I do about it? So if you ask this kind of question to an advanced devotee, I have witnessed such conversations between a devotee and an advanced devotee, and they say, yes, it's good, keep doing your sadhana. It's not where they say, oh, you are a great devotee, you have become a bhava-bhakta, and so on and so forth. So they encourage, but at the same time, they don't give too much importance to the presence of such symptoms, external symptoms. So mainly it is for us to make sure that we don't fall into the trap that I am a great devotee, I am a bhava-bhakta, if such symptoms appear in our external manifestation from time to time. Okay, so that is the general understanding of bhava-ābhāsa or rati-abhasa. Any questions at this point? So this was a quick, I think, review of what we covered last time. Okay, so now let us cover some new material today. So rati-abhasa or bhava-abhasa is categorized into two categories: Pratibimba rati-abhasa and Chaya rati-abhasa. Okay. So a pratibimba, what is a pratibimba? A pratibimba is a reflection in the mirror or water. So that is called pratibimba. And pratibimba rati-abhasa means that it is a reflection or in a mirror or in the water. Compared to chaya, chaya means shadow. A shadow of rati. So which one do you think is, now if there are two categories, there's got to be one which is better than the other? Or not always, but let us say that, in this case, I'm telling you that one is better than the other. Which one is better?
Pratibimba.
Why?
Because it is complete, kind of. Almost complete.
Why do you say that? Because of?
It's almost complete. Complete reflection.
But we have not discussed what is Pratibimba rati-abhasa and what is Chaya rati-abhasa. So how do you say that?
Pratibimba means Chaya, means the reflection, right?
So basically what you are saying is that a reflection is better than a shadow. And obviously the names might have been given after some based on some logic. These are not just random names. So yes, you are correct. Pratibimba has more features of the real object, whereas Chaya has fewer features. Like the shadow of a triangle or a square, you can make out that it is a triangle or a square from the shadow. But you may not be able to make out the color of the object, whether it is a blue triangle or a red triangle or a blue square or a red square. That you can possibly make out from a pratibimba. Whether now you can say, oh, it is a red triangle. Earlier, you were only able to say it is a triangle. Now you can say it is a red triangle or a blue square. So there is more completeness, you can say. So it is not complete. You must also understand that Pratibimba is not the complete object. Another very important point, now I'm kind of going in a little bit of a mixed order. Some of these points will be covered in the later slides. But Pratibimba, is it the real object? When you say it is complete, what do you mean by it is complete? It is complete what? And please feel free to answer, Prabhuji, also, you're sitting here. Complete what?
It's always duplicating, almost duplicating the original.
Duplicating the original. Okay. Copy.
Copying.
Okay. So let me go into this little technical analysis. Like a copy, I have my iPhone here. Now, Apple makes multiple copies of this iPhone and they sell each of them for $1,000. Correct? That is what I will call a copy, or a duplicate means really a true duplicate, not like a duplicate mal, duplicate goods that you get, For example, in India, you can buy duplicate of anything, not for 1/10 the price. That's a low quality duplicate, but a true duplicate will sell for the same price, isn't it? Just like two Apple made iPhones will sell for the same price. There is absolutely no difference, even in the quality. That is a real duplicate. How much would you pay for the reflection of an iPhone in the mirror? Would you pay even $1?
No.
You would not, isn't it? Let's take a better example, a cake, right? How much would you pay for the reflection of a cake?
Nothing.
Cake is $100. You would not pay anything. How much would you pay for a tiny, small portion? If the cake is $100 and if I give you a small piece of the cake, this much, would you pay me 10 cents?
Yes.
Yes. So the point I'm trying to make is rati-abhāsa should not be considered like a portion of rati. It is just a rati-abhāsa. The word semblance is used. It means it's not real rati at all. There is nothing real about it. It just looks like rati, that's it. Like a mirage. Yes, or like a reflection. Just now we all agreed you would not pay even 1 cent for the reflection of a cake in the mirror. So that is the point to be understood. Many people, including myself, misunderstand, oh, when rati-abhāsa is there, oh, it is the beginning of rati. I have some bhava or some rati. Now I just have to increase it more. No, that is not the right understanding. As we will see, for example, Chaya rati-abhāsa can appear in a complete beginner. First time he has come to the temple. He has no idea of bhakti. Chaya rati-abhāsa can appear in such a person as well. Okay. So that point needs to be understood very clearly. So having said all this, let us go into the details of Pratibimba Rati-abhāsa. So this goes on in 3 verses in the 3rd chapter of Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu, 46 to 48. And the first verse, 46, is the definition of Pratibimba Rati-abhāsa. So please note each point carefully, okay? So Pratibimba rati-abhāsa means first point is just few symptoms, external symptoms of rati are present. One or two, like crying or tears, not even crying, but just tears come out in the eyes. The eyes become moist, maybe. Maybe the voice chokes or something like that. Second point is it is being performed, or this symptom is appearing in a person who is performing serious sadhana bhakti, serious enough. He is not perfect. He has not completed the stage of sadhana bhakti. If you have completed the stage of sadhana bhakti, you are already into bhava bhakti, or you are in the beginning of bhava bhakti. So he has not completed, but he is practicing seriously. What does it mean practicing seriously? Practicing seriously means he is performing some limbs of sadhana bhakti. We discussed 64 limbs, correct? So some limbs he is performing. Maybe he is doing japa, maybe he is listening to reading Srimad Bhagavatam, whatever. But in his heart, there is a desire for either bhakti or even higher level of bhakti. So 1 and 2 are similar. Bhakti means material pleasures on the earth, or desiring to go to Svarga, which is even higher material pleasures, or even mukti, including all the 5 types of muktis. It's not just impersonal. Remember what Sri Rupa Goswami said. Bhukti, mukti, spriha yavat. That the desire for bhukti or mukti are compared to witches or pishachi. And this mukti is not limited just to sayujya or impersonal liberation. That mukti, the desire for that mukti was all kinds of mukti. Samipya, salokya, sarupya, sarishti. Okay. So when one has any of these, desire for bhukti or mukti, and one is performing any limb of or any limbs of bhakti with the desire to attain this, that I will get, some happiness in my life, some peacefulness in my life, good things will happen if Krishna is pleased. The end goal is good things will happen. Krishna getting pleased is only a means, is simply a tool. So for any of these reasons, but he is seriously performing the limb of sadhana bhakti. And such performance of bhakti awards him material happiness. Then the symptoms, those 1 or 2 symptoms that I showed in the first bullet or the third bullet above, the presence of such symptoms of rati are called Pratibimba rati-abhāsa. Okay, so these symptoms are reflective of some semblance of bhava in one's heart, and which are shown externally, which come up. The Pratibimba rati-abhāsa is in the heart. Externally, it manifests as these whatever symptoms, tears or choking voice, etc. And because he is performing this bhakti seriously, it awards him material happiness. Remember, what are the 2 characteristics of sadhana bhakti? What 2 characteristics? Remember from the very beginning of Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu. Who can tell?
Kleshagni Shubhada Moksha.
No. Okay. You were good till the first 2 words. Why did you add moksha?
Oh, Kleshagni Shubhada.
Yes. The third one is Kleshagni Shubhada. The verse says moksha laghutakrit sudurlabha. So the first line is Kleshagni Shubhada moksha laghutakrit sudurlabha sandrananda visheshatma Shri Krishna karshini chasa. So in the first line, there are 2 items, Kleshagni and Shubhada, and there is half of the third item already in the first line, moksha. Next line is laghutakrit. But you cannot add moksha as a characteristic of sadhana bhakti. That comes at the bhava bhakti level. So Shubhada and Kleshagni, those are the 2 characteristics of sadhana bhakti which one gets because he is performing serious sadhana bhakti. So this is called Pratibimba rati-abhāsa. Now, today's class is little technical, but I will draw out some practical learnings for this. So it's a technical class with many of these terms. What you can ask, why should I learn this? I am not at the bhava bhakti stage myself. And bhava-ābhāsa is not real bhava bhakti. So why should I care? Let me do my sadhana bhakti properly and be happy with that. So that is correct. But there are a lot of practical things to be learned just by the theory of bhava-ābhāsa. The biggest one is that one should not get confused that I am at bhava level. If such emotions or such external symptoms appear, or one should not even think I am at the beginning of bhava level, or I am very, very advanced. So to crush or to put to rest any such doubts, some of this rati-abhasa or bhava-abhasa can come even at the very beginning of sadhana bhakti. Even at the beginning, what to speak in the advanced or serious stages. Okay. Somebody may have to mute. Let me just see if there's anybody. Okay. Okay. So some notes on Pratibimba rati-abhasa. So what is the main characteristic? So let's understand Pratibimba rati-abhasa a little bit more. What is the main characteristic of bhava bhakti? Who remembers? How is bhava bhakti definition? How it starts? Shuddha sattva visheshatma. Okay. So Shuddha sattva means that it has no material contamination. But Pratibimba rati-abhasa, we said, is present or could be present in a person who has some desire for bhukti or mukti. Okay, so when there is some desire for bhukti or mukti, then bhava cannot appear. Simply never. Because the definition itself says Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma. So when it is Shuddha Sattva means there is absolutely no material desires. Okay. Then it cannot appear. It cannot be actual bhava at all. Only thing that can exist, even possibly if at all, is bhava-ābhāsa. Okay. And it means that when such bhakti is being performed, one is only aiming for the secondary results of what happened to your eye? No. And I mean, if you didn't know about it and wanted to get it checked. Okay. So it means one is consciously aiming for secondary results, gauna vritti of bhakti, which is kleshagna and shubha. Kleshagni means Bhakti Devi is Kleshagni, which means it gives Kleshagna, or she gives Kleshagna and she gives Shubha, and therefore she is called Shubha Da, giver of Shubha or auspiciousness, but not the primary result, which is Krishna Prema. So when one is performing such bhakti, then Pratibimba rati-abhāsa may appear, but that bhakti is being performed with the mood of gauna vritti. And such people are performing sadhana bhakti. That means they have some understanding of sadhana bhakti. And by that, they know that Krishna can provide relief from sufferings, bestow happiness, and even bestow liberation. And they say, okay, Krishna, that is all we want from you. Which means we want to make use of your power. We don't want you. We want what you can give, not you. So not his prema. So that is the meaning of that they are interested in gauna vritti, not mukhya vritti. Vritti means what is the result or what is available. So they are only interested in gauna vritti, not mukhya vritti. They may still perform serious sadhana bhakti, but this is not of the uttama category, because it is not anya abhilashita shunyam. It's saying the same point perhaps, but in different ways. but I'm at the same time summarizing the commentary of the acharyas. So all these points that I am mentioning are coming from the commentary, and in the commentary, our acharyas are simply describing the meaning of the verse. So that's what I'm also doing. And the two main commentaries, as you know, I have referred to are Durgam Sangamani by Śrī Jiva Goswami and Bhakti-sāra Pradarshini by Śrī Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. There is also a third commentary called Artharatnalpa-dīpika by Śrī Mukunda Goswami, and I have sometimes referred to that as well. Now, they get relief from suffering by performing sadhana bhakti, kleshagna, and material happiness, shubha. But both of these are material outputs. Relief from material suffering is material. Shubha is also material. And because they are material, by very nature, they are temporary. Everything material is temporary. So these are both temporary, which means bhava-ābhāsa, when one has this Pratibimba bhava-ābhāsa, this material suffering could be removed or could be reduced, but it could come back as well. Or the happiness is obtained, but the happiness could end. And by such bhakti, they may experience these symptoms of tears, choking voice, etc. And this is called Pratibimba rati-ābhāsa. Okay. And as we discussed, this Pratibimba rati-ābhāsa can be experienced even in the sadhana bhakti stage, or when one is performing serious sadhana bhakti. But it does not mean that now bhava-ābhāsa has appeared. I'm about to get to the stage of bhava. You may be very far from it. So do not fall into this trap. Okay. All right. Now, next topic is, how does Pratibimba rati-ābhāsa appear? What causes it to appear? So this is described in the next two verses, 47 and 48. So once again, some of this may be a repetition. I will try to go over it quickly. Those who desire bhukti or mukti, we discussed that. And those who perform this bhakti for success in their pursuit. So they have this desire and they are using bhakti as a means to success in bhakti or mukti. That by bhakti I will get bhukti, or by bhakti I will get mukti. So they are using Krishna bhakti as a means to get success in their desire for bhakti and mukti. But it is very clearly being said that they are in the mode of goodness. They are actively cultivating mode of goodness qualities. So it is clearly mentioned that they do not see faults in others. They live a simple life. And they are almost always peaceful. Which means that they are in the mode of goodness and they are executing the limbs of bhakti, but not specifically to develop Krishna prema, but to get mukti and bhukti. And they are cultivating mode of goodness qualities. Such devotees, now you can call them devotees because they are devotees. They are performing sadhana bhakti. They are cultivating mode of goodness qualities. They are definitely devotees. If by great fortune they come in contact with a genuine bhava-bhakta. Okay. Now, coming in contact with a bhava-bhakta is very, very rare. First of all, where do you find one? And it is said, everything I have, by the way, on the slides is in the commentaries or in the real verses. I didn't want to explain the real verses and the Sanskrit and all. It would be too much. But please trust me, everything on the slides is coming straight from the mouth of our greatest acharyas, such as Sri Rupa Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So nothing, so everything is coming from their pen. I have just put it in slides. So please consider all these bullets as very serious points. They are not speculative. They are not figments of my imagination. Wherever they will be, my realizations, my points, I will tell you so. So, by great fortune, if they come in contact even once or twice, but with a genuine pure devotee or a genuine bhava-bhakta. Bhava-bhakta can be called a pure devotee. Bhava is the sadhya stage. So he's a pure devotee. Then it is said that the moon of bhava bhakti that has arisen in the spotless heart of that pure devotee, the moon of bhava bhakti has arisen already in the pure devotee's heart, that gets reflected in the not so clean heart of this practicing devotee. This practicing devotee does not have as spotless a heart as of the, but some pratibimba is there. Now, what it means is that if you have a dusty mirror, let's say, if you have a perfectly clean mirror, you will see a perfect image, isn't it? It is still an image. You would still not pay 1 cent for a cake of that image, correct? But if it is a very dusty mirror, you would still not pay even 1 cent, but you wouldn't even know if it is a strawberry cake or a vanilla cake or whatever, whether happy birthday is written or happy anniversary is written, what is written on the cake. So what it means is that the level of cleanliness of the heart of the devotee, practicing devotee, determines the level of the abhas that one gets. So it is gradation. It's not like binary. The cleaner the heart of the reflector is of the, of the practicing devotee, the better will be the reflection. Following? So therefore, this moon of bhava bhakti gets reflected in the heart of the practicing devotee. And very important point. Okay, and by the way, and then that practicing devotee experiences some symptoms of bhava. Very important point, this last bullet that I'm showing, is that this reflection in the heart stays for a very long time, even after that contact with that bhava bhakta is over. So what is mentioned is just once one had contact with this pure, genuine devotee. And then that contact was for 5 minutes or 1 hour or whatever it was, but short. And it's gone. But that reflection stays. Okay. So these are the aspects of, this is how Pratibimba rati-ābhāsa appear. So that person is already practicing. So there are so many, in the case of Srila Prabhupada's life, there are so many examples. Many of the Prabhupada disciples that we know met or saw Srila Prabhupada even only once in their life. Still after 40, 50 years, Srila Prabhupada passed away. How many? Almost 50 years ago now. In another 3 years, 2027, it will be 50 years. So 47 years it has been since Srila Prabhupada left the planet. They are still more serious devotees to this day than us, who are, doing all these services, who are reading all these shastras, doing Bhakti Shastri, doing seva in temple, this, that. 50 years of no contact with spiritual master. I don't think I would be, even 1/10 as serious as them. That is because they had one contact with a genuine bhava bhakta. Again, Srila Prabhupada is not just a bhava bhakta, he's at the prema level. But of course, prema includes bhava. So they got in contact. So that is the effect. It is lasting for 50 plus years. So what are the learnings for us? Even at the bhava bhakti stage, the learning is to perform sadhana bhakti seriously. Okay? And cultivate mode of goodness qualities. Because those were the conditions. Look at the above. One must be performing bhakti in their life, plus they must be not see fault in others, live a simple life, be peaceful, which means be equanimous, not get, too troubled by, some ups and downs in life and so on. And maybe you never know when you might come in contact with a bhava bhakta. Bhava-bhaktas don't carry a label on their head, I am a bhava-bhakta. They may not appear in the clothes of a sannyasi. Srila Prabhupada had the clothes of a sannyasi. Now, there are many sannyasi who only have clothes of sannyasi. Inside, they may be crooks. So you never know. But whatever you know of a devotee, he is a devotee in good standing. He seems to be an advanced devotee. Associate with them. And it does not mean you have to get into a one-on-one conversation. They have to put their head on your hand on your head, give you some, mantra or anything like that. Just association. Simple association with them also works magic. Just because they are a bhava-bhakta. And you never know who is a bhava-bhakta. So aim desperately for associating with whoever you think is a advanced devotee. And so many devotees these days are visiting our centers, temples, or go and visit them, find them out. They must be living somewhere. You might have heard of someone. I don't know. That's why, like, when I went to Vrindavan, I found out, like, I met a lot of the devotees who were like, I knew where the so-and-so devotee is going to give a class. So I went, and some of them I found out, like that Mahavir Bhagat ji. I don't know whether he's Bhava Bhakta, but hey, I'm already there. I know about him. He may be one. Go find him out. So I spent half an hour with him, out of which 25 minutes were just listening to his bhajan. 5 minutes I talked to him generally, some small things. Gave some donation. That was my seva. Who knows what will work magic in our life? We never know. So these are some practical things that we can do in our life. Any questions on Pratibimba rati-abhāsa? Okay. So Chaya rati-abhāsa. That's the next topic. So as we discussed, it is the lesser or lower type of rati-abhāsa. So it is a shadow of actual rati. Semblance, shadow. You would not pay even 1 cent for a shadow of a cake either, let alone the reflection, right? So it's not the real thing, just like a reflection, but it is a slight shadow, and the shadow also, umbra penumbra, you might have read in physics, a very sharp shadow or a hazy shadow, right? So shadow also can have a quality of sharp or hazy, just like a reflection on a dusty mirror or a clean mirror. So again, there are levels of shadows. Very sharp shadow, very hazy shadow. If it is too hazy, you cannot even make out it is a circle or a triangle sometimes. It just looks like something is there, right? So it may be very hazy as well. So what is Chaya rati-abhāsa? When very little interest is present in bhakti. In the previous case, now I have another slide which shows a contrast, but I'm just speaking about it, and then the contrast we will go over quickly. So when there is very little interest present in bhakti, maybe out of curiosity or just by chance. Okay, and I will tell you another story. Or even in a stranger, someone very new to bhakti. Okay, like your friend, you just said, hey, I want to visit the temple, and he was just with you. He said, okay, I have nothing else to do, I'll come with you. And he happened to visit, whatever may be the case. Then one may develop the symptoms due to Chaya rati-abhāsa, due to a slight shadow of the semblance of rati. How they will appear, I will cover. So they may, what is being said in the definition is that some symptoms may appear, Such symptoms are very temporary and unstable. The previous one, in contrast, were how long did they last? We said very long, we said. This one is very temporary and unstable. But such appearance is nevertheless very powerful and has the capacity to destroy one's suffering. So even this is the beauty of bhakti. Even this very slight semblance of bhakti, and we will see how it is caused, is so powerful that it can destroy one's suffering. So let's get into this discussion of how does Chaya rati-ābhāsa appear. So it appears out of great fortune. Now you might be seeing this as a very consistent theme, out of great fortune. And we will discuss how that fortune also comes. And very rarely, this Chaya rati-ābhāsa never appears without great fortune. In fact, that is the only reason why it appears. Because this person really did nothing. He didn't even almost start sadhana bhakti. The moment maybe he entered the temple, he started sadhana bhakti, but you can say he never started or he just barely started. So he really did nothing. It's almost like, you have to do nothing. And when you have to do nothing to receive something, can that be called? Just good fortune. You were just walking on the street and you happened to find a $100 bill on the street. You did nothing. You did no hard work, no nothing. You weren't even looking for it. It just happened to float in front of you and you caught it. Right? How can that happen? You will say only by good fortune. No need to even buy a lottery ticket. To get a lottery, you have to buy the ticket. Here, the whole thing just floated in front of you and you caught it.
Can it be called ahetuki? Ahetuki?
Well, you can call it ahetuki in the sense that ahetuki, not ahetuki bhakti, but ahetuki kripa. And kripa by definition is ahetuki, mercy. Right. Ahetuki is generally used in the context of bhakti, that our bhakti must be ahetuki, which is the same as saying anya abhilashita shunyam, that there should not be any hetu or any motive, material motive to do bhakti. That is called ahetuki. Savai pumsho paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje ahetuki apratihata yayatmasu prasidati. So that bhakti which we are doing towards adhokshaja, towards Krishna, should be ahetuki, which means we should not do bhakti in order to get happiness, in order to XYZ. That is where generally the word ahetuki is used. So there is a component of our ahetukiness. We do not do bhakti in order to get something. But yes, you can say this is due to mercy or kripa, which is by definition ahetuki. To get mercy, you are not supposed to do anything. If you did something, then you are the claimant of the result. I claim the result. It cannot be merciful. Mercy means like you are in jail and suddenly you are told you are free.
Pardon.
That is called you didn't do anything. But if you did good behavior in the jail, you did a lot of volunteer services, and then they say because you did all these things, you are being released. That is not mercy. That is earned. I earned the right to get early release. Correct? Okay. So this Chaya rati-ābhāsa, you want to sit in the shadow, Prabhuji? So much sun. Okay. It cannot appear without great fortune. So it appears in an ignorant person or a new person or even a person not even interested in bhakti. Somehow he happened to be at the right place at the right time. And he comes into contact with any of the following things. 4 things are mentioned in the verse. Okay. He happened to hear Krishna Katha or chanting from a pure devotee. Or he happened to, this is given in the verse, dance with a pure devotee. So many people come and dance on the street with Sankirtan party or whatever. If you happened to hear Krishna Katha or chant or dance with a pure devotee. Now, this is the reason why pure devotees sometimes should go out and do hearing or kirtan or dancing, so that they give a chance for other people to get Chaya rati-ābhāsa. Okay. Anyway, so that's for the pure devotees, but for us, or participate in Lord's festivals such as Janmashtami, or visit a place of the Lord's pastime like Shri Vrindavan Dham, Mayapur Dham, Jagannath Puri, so on, Dwarka Dham, etc., etc. Or do some service to a pure devotee, some service. Then suddenly one may experience Chaya rati-ābhāsa, some symptoms. At that time, one may not think much of it. Oh, it just happened. But it is greatly, greatly beneficial. Now, how many of you know the story of Srila Prabhupada and the air hostess? That's a classic example. Have you heard? How many of you have heard that air hostess story?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So, one air hostess, Srila Prabhupada was traveling in the aeroplane. And, you know, one air hostess, what does air hostess do? Would you like something? Can I get you something, right? So she asked Srila Prabhupada, what could I get you? So he said, I would like some hot milk. Okay. So she said, sure, very nicely. And she saw he's like an old man, nice man, a monk. And she brought really nice hot milk. And with that, she got some, or no, not with that. And then Srila Prabhupada had some like puffed rice, chivda, with him. So he started eating some chivda and started sipping the hot milk. And just because of that contact with Srila Prabhupada, she had something in her mind or heart, and she just grabbed some chivda from his whatever bowl and ate it. Who would do that? You know, that's actually if the air hostess comes and jumps on your food, it's like you would report that incident. She could get fired from the airline. Correct? It's not but she just had that natural impetus to do that. And that was the only contact. She had no name, address, nothing. Who is this passenger? Absolutely nothing. She didn't know. And how fortunate you have to be. You have to be the air hostess in that specific flight in which Srila Prabhupada is there. And you also, air hostesses have several separate sections. Row number 30 to 40, you will do the service, or business class, you will do this side, economy class, whatever this. So that air hostess had to be in that flight. So, you know, how much, fitting has to be there. You have to absolutely be at the right place at the right time. And then many, many years ago, how we come to know about this? Some devotees were doing some sankirtan in some remote village in Amazon forest in South America. And they knock on one door and they find an old lady. She had a little altar in the house with Srila Prabhupada's photo, Lord Krishna's picture, books, and all that. And then they asked, you know, in the middle of nowhere, how can they find a devotee? And she told the devotees this incident. She said, I found out. Or then I was going somewhere and I saw that same man in the books picture. Somebody, you know, was distributing books or whatever. I saw that same person whom I had served. Then I was always looking for him. I got his book, I read, and whatever, you know, from there on. So, classic example of Chaya rati-abhāsa. Okay. So, again, we cannot engineer it. It just happens by fortune. No air hostess could have engineered, I will be on this flight because this great devotee is coming. If that person already knew he's a great devotee, then you can just go meet him at his ashram. Why you have to engineer to be on the same flight same, whatever. The whole point is it is completely by luck, and you cannot do anything to engineer it. Right? What can you do? What can you do then? So what you can do, so what is the cause here? This slide is discussing the cause, right? How does Chaya, rati-abhāsa appear? In other words, what is the cause? So how can you manifest the cause? What is the cause here? Somebody? What is the cause? Look.
Good fortune.
Fortune. Yes. So how can you manufacture your good fortune? Somehow manufacture your good fortune by getting some pious credits. Do
So
some seva
maybe
to
previous
anyone.
Sukriti.
Sukriti, yes. Accumulate Sukriti somehow. Okay. If not, doing best way to develop Sukriti is by doing direct bhakti. Now, it doesn't apply to any of you because otherwise you would not be in this class. Okay. So, but all people should do some pious activities. They will get pious credits, maybe next life, next to next life, whenever they will get this fortune. They are basically, increasing the bank balance of getting good fortune. And if you know, again, this goes back to the previous point, seek the association of advanced devotees. Okay, so that is the discussion on Pratibimba and Chaya rati-abhāsa. So what is let's do just a quick analysis, or not analysis, a quick comparison of Pratibimba and Chaya rati-abhāsa. All right. So Pratibimba rati-abhāsa, I should have added the word abhas. I missed it. Is higher or better than, or no, that's actually correct. Pratibimba is better state of rati-abhāsa than Chaya. Okay. We already discussed that. Because Pratibimba is like a reflection. More features are visible. We discussed that already, like, red triangle versus just a shape of triangle. Chaya is just a shadow, which also may be sharp or hazy and has fewer features available or visible. But, so these are the some differences, but the common part is coming in contact with a pure devotee. That was there even in Pratibimba. Just because you are performing serious sadhana bhakti does not mean that you may experience some symptoms. Now, how many of you have sometimes experienced some symptoms of like tears or choking voice while reading Bhagavatam or singing kirtan, participating in kirtan, or watching, looking at the deity, or on your visit to holy places? How many of you have experienced?
Yes.
Okay, many of you have experienced. So what it means? Now, we don't know whether it was Chaya or Pratibimba, let us say. We don't know. But it means you have come in contact with a pure devotee somewhere or the other. You may not know it. Like that air hostess didn't know who is this man. It looks like a monk. Fine, there are so many people with a saffron cloth. So another thing which is said, that at any point of time, even in Kali Yuga, there will never be a shortage of pure devotees walking on the planet. I have heard this. I do not have a reference of a quote, but I have heard this, that at any point, even in Kali Yuga, there will never be a shortage of pure devotees. Never. So don't make this excuse that, oh, how to find pure devotee. Yeah, it may be hard to find pure devotee, but they are there. And the second point is, you don't have to know he's or she is a pure devotee. Just try to throw a wide net of Vaishnav Seva. And without knowing, you will invariably serve some pure devotee. And that proof is because all of you, many of you have experienced this abhas. And without the good fortune of coming in contact with a pure devotee, it cannot appear. That's the science of bhakti. Science says that. So you must have come in contact. You just don't know it. So how fortunate it is, isn't it? It's a very fortunate thing. I find it very fortunate that I have come in contact. I may not know that, but I have come in contact because I have experienced those symptoms. So I must have come in contact. That's nice. Now I only need to find out which one of the people, the hundreds of people I met, was the one. No, you don't need to find that out. Okay. Okay. So as mentioned above, great fortune is the cause of both, but is the only cause of Chaya rati-abhāsa. Such persons may not be performing any limb of sadhana bhakti. Whereas performing this sadhana bhakti and developing good qualities are definitely the causes for Pratibimba rati-abhāsa. Without that, it will only be Chaya. Chaya rati-abhāsa is short-lived, whereas Pratibimba rati-abhāsa is long-lived. Both bestow auspiciousness and give relief from suffering to varying degrees. Okay. However, someone desiring this, an additional statement is made by Śrī Gosvami in the commentary that one who is desiring for mukti will never experience Chaya rati-abhāsa. He will only experience, if at all, Pratibimba rati-abhāsa, because Pratibimba is better than Chaya and desiring mukti is better than desiring bhukti. Okay. Anyway, so the point is, the main point to note here, at least what I am trying to say, is association of pure devotees is a very, very important and consistent theme. That's why we should always be eager and hankering to serve pure devotees. Whatever little service you can do. And serve them in a favorable way, which means which enables their seva or their mood. Okay. So if somebody is a, let us say, great, he does wonderful, like heartful kirtan, and you invite him to give Bhagavatam class, he may give like 10-minute, but it's not, I mean, he can speak many things from his, just whatever he will speak will be so nice, but I'm saying anukul. If you give him a big, whatever, I don't know, something which enables him to write books, that's not useful. But one who is, into Srimad Bhagavatam and he's writing, like Srila Prabhupada, if you give him a dictaphone, he will make good use of it. But somebody who is just, sitting in Radhakund and chanting the holy name on his japamala, if you give him a dictaphone, he will not have any use for it. So seva in a anukul way that enables their bhajan. Okay. Which brings us to the last point in Bhava-bhakti chapter, and we'll conclude Bhava-bhakti with this, is how to, so as you saw, association of pure devotees. So rati-abhāsa is not the real one, is not real abhas by any means, like we discussed, but it can get elevated to real abhas over gradual period of time. How? In these 4 verses, 52 to 55, it is mentioned, by mercy of pure devotees. By the great mercy of pure devotees, rati-abhasa of both types, either type, and one is just at a beginning stage, one is at a more serious stage. So that's the Chaya and Pratibimba, can get elevated to actual rati or bhava. So if you have that symptom, it's very good. Okay? It means you have already had the good fortune of getting the mercy, knowingly or unknowingly, of a pure devotee. And either you have begun the stage of sadhana bhakti, or you have been seriously doing it. One way or the other, it can quickly move forward to the actual stage of bhava by mercy of pure devotees. And what is the best way of receiving mercy? Association and favorable seva. Association is itself seva, yes. They are moving around, out and about to give association. And we must take their association. Now, there are some great devotees who are sitting in a cave, not coming out. But that is not the Gaudiya Vaishnava mood. So Gaudiya Vaishnava mood of the devotees is to go and enable giving the association. If you see the 9 symptoms, Nama Gane Sada Ruchihi, so they are always singing. When they are singing, somebody is listening. Or Tad Guna Akhyane Asaktihi. They have great attachment to do Tad Guna Akhyan. Tad means Krishna, or that which was referred earlier. Guna Akhyan means always describing the glories of Krishna. So if nobody is there to listen, still they will glorify, but better if people are sitting and listening. And what was the other one? What is that? Vasati. Tad. The place of residence. Sthale vasati. Tad vasati. Sthale priti. So they are going and living in the Tad vasate sthale priti. So Tad sthala, Krishna's sthal. They could go and live in hiding in some obscure place. But they chose the place to reside, which is Krishna's sthal, so that you can find him. If they are sitting in some Chikmagalur or Jhumri Talaiya or some whatever XYZ unknown place, you cannot find them. But then you know that you will find such people in Tad Sthale. Why they will do that? Of course, they want to be there, but another thing is they are advertising that, hey, I'm here. This is Vrindavan and here's where you can find me. So, best chance of receiving mercy of great devotees is to render some favorable seva to them. And if you cannot render seva, conversely, at least never offend them. That is the biggest mistake you can commit in your whole life. So out of these, so this topic, first 2 lines, what I have mentioned is in the first verse only, 52. 53, 54, 55 are talking about the great danger of aparādha. Okay, if you cannot serve them, at least stay out of the way. Don't attract negative consequence by doing vaiṣṇava-aparādha. So by offending a pure Vaishnava, even the best, again we said rati-abhāsa is of 2 types. One is higher, one is lower. And even there are gradations, right? How clean your mirror is or how sharp the shadow is. All those things we discussed. Even the best type of rati-abhāsa can gradually wane away. The example is given like a waning moon. It can wane away. By reading Srimad Bhagavatam, by singing certain songs or bhajans, you may get a lot of emotions. But if you commit Vaishnava-aparādha, that bhava that may come, even though you are not at bhava-bhakti stage, that bhava comes again and again. Because it is said it stays for a long time. It will stop. Bhagavatam will become like an ordinary book. You want that to happen in your life? Don't offend Vaishnavas. And again, nothing comes in binary. Everything has categories. So Vaishnava-aparādha, it is said, is also of various categories with various or varying consequences. And the first one is, if the offense is grave, offense you have done, even real bhava, let alone bhava-ābhāsa, real bhava can be completely destroyed. I can look up the Sanskrit word in the verse. That's why I put completely in like capitals. It's not like it will get reduced, it will become half. It could get completely destroyed, even from bhava stage. So that is the consequence of grave offense to a pure Vaishnava. Now again, you never know who is pure, who is impure. So don't try to take chances. Don't push your luck. Best is to be a very humble, nice Vaishnava who does not offend any Vaishnava, let alone pure. You do not have a litmus test of who is pure. Or to him I will not offend. He is impure Vaishnava or not a Vaishnava, I can offend him. Don't take chances. Okay, then other things are mentioned, but that is the main point. If offense is medium, then real bhava could turn into bhava-ābhāsa. Just like it is said, bhava-ābhāsa, the first bullet, says bhava-ābhāsa can get elevated to real bhava by mercy. The opposite of mercy is to go and offend them. Or the opposite of rendering seva to them is to go offend them. Then bhava can become bhava-ābhāsa. It won't get completely destroyed, but it can become bhava-ābhāsa. And if the offense is slight, then bhava can get reduced somewhat. Again, a whole, mathematical analysis is not given, 10%, 20%, whatever, but it can get reduced. And what is the number one cause of doing Vaisṇava-aparādha? That also is given. In the 55th verse, I should have put numbers here as to which verse, which bullets correspond to which verse. I generally do that, but I forgot to do in this slide. I will do it later. 55th verse gives the cause of doing Vaisṇava-aparādha. Now you may think that is the cause. But what causes you to do Vaisṇava-aparādha? Any guess?
Hurting the devotees. Hurting the devotees.
No. You're saying that is called Vaisṇava-aparādha. You're saying Vaisṇava-aparādha is the cause of Vaisṇava-aparādha. That doesn't make sense.
Inattentive chanting.
Okay. Shamlila Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, associating with Mayavatis or like people who don't believe in Bhagwan.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes, Rajesh Prabhu.
Is it envy, Prabhu?
Envy from whom? Or envy towards who?
I mean, whenever we see devotees elevated and when we compare with them, right, we think that we are superior, our ego is not accepting it and we envy them.
Okay, so that's also some kind of Vaisṇava-aparādha, which also kind of, I would say, goes back into circular logic. Yeah, so we have discussed it before. Consistent theme of all scriptures is to get Vaishnava association, devotee association. And like Shyamlila Mataji said, the best way to commit Vaishnava-aparādha or to cause you to commit Vaishnava-aparādha is bad association. Get into bad association and your mindset will change and you will end up committing Vaishnava-aparādha. It's a bad association. Is the main cause. There can be other causes. But whatever is the cause for Vaishnava-aparādha, looking at him with envy, and then you say something to him, whatever. But why did that envy come in the heart? The seed is sown by associating with bad people, and bad means mainly materialists. Mainly that. in present terminology. 500 years ago, it would have been impersonalists. But now there aren't, well, there are many impersonalists around already. But as practicing devotees within ISKCON, we know, okay, fine, impersonalism, I don't know, at least I feel like, we are pretty shielded from that. I don't go around sitting in circles of impersonalist sangha. You have to find out, oh, this is impersonalist, I want to go there. They don't come and, attack you left, right, and center. Now, today with YouTube and whatever, actually, that's not true. I take it back. Because I look at a lot of these Bhagavad Gita or whatever in YouTube, all kinds of videos show up, even of impersonalists who will say, all kind of things. Those things pop up in my feed. So actually it is there. They are knocking on your door. But the other big category of people who are always surrounding us are materialists, gross materialists, like who, not just materialist, and we are not talking about who are just worried about maintaining their family, or they may be rich apparently, but they are in mode of goodness. I'm not even talking about that. When I say gross materialists, it means that they may not be rich or a lot of material things they may not have. Vishayas means sense objects. But their mind is constantly engaged in that. And they are always talking about it. Remember this discussion we had long back in Nectar of Instruction? Who is worse to associate with? A woman, again for a man, right? A Strī or a Strī Sangi. Who is worse? Strī Sangi means one who wants to associate with women. Which association is worse for a man and opposite for a woman?
Sangi.
Sangi, because with a Strī, maybe that Strī is very pious or whatever. Strī Sangi means he's always thinking of women. So he will always talk about that. So which means that when we say gross materialist, which means who have, that is what is there in their mind always. The mind is full of, how can I, whatever, material thoughts. Okay. So that is bad association. Anyway, the point is vaiṣṇava-aparādha is at varying levels of varying consequences, etc. Best policy is to avoid all levels of vaiṣṇava-aparādha, and I should have added one more point here, avoiding bad association. Okay. I mean, you cannot avoid maybe your family members or friends or whoever, but if you see somebody who's always, his mind is fully absorbed in materialistic thoughts, must avoid. It will simply contaminate you. Okay. Such people. Yes, Madhvi Manjari Mataji, you had raised your hand.
Prabhuji, I was about to answer, but Medha Mataji already answered, so that's why I lowered it.
Okay, to which question you were going to answer, and what would have been
That
your
the Strī Sangi is more dangerous than the Strī.
Yes, correct. Yes, okay. Okay, so that is the end of today's class. And with that, we end Bhava Bhakti section. Any questions? Okay. So for Bhakti Shastri students, more homeworks will be on the way. Please keep completing your homeworks. And now we have Prem Bhakti section left. And I'm trying to see, but I may have a surprise for you for Prem Bhakti section class. Yeah, I guess it's not that much of a surprise. So anyway, we'll see. So yeah, we may have a surprise speaker. I'll pretend that there is a surprise. Okay. To finish off the Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhuḥ. All right. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for joining, and we will see you next time. I think next week we are having some visitors or what? Okay, we will see. Keep eye on the announcements, and we will. Yeah. And if you have any questions now, homeworks are coming up, and test is going to come up. If you have questions on anything, please message me. I used to hold office hours, but for Q&A, but there weren't many questions, so I can still. I'm happy to do office hours. Like, come and ask questions if you like, and it won't be recorded. So you don't have to worry that it will, quote unquote, you may think my question is stupid or silly. No question is silly or stupid, by the way. But, if you feel more safe in a non-recorded setting and all that, whatever. But please ask your questions on the WhatsApp group, or say I have some questions, and we can set up office hours time. But please keep punching on your homework, and very soon I will announce test, and we will, for the first batch, we will complete Bhakti Shastri soon. All right. With that, I will end the class here. Thank you very much. Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you,
Prabhuji. Thank
Prabhuji.
you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.